Elizabeth Angela Marguerite Bowes-Lyon, August 4, 1900, March 30, 2002, was the wife of King George VI, and the mother of Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Margaret, Countess of Snowdon. She was Queen Consort of the United Kingdom and the Dominions from her husband's accession in 1936 until his death in 1952, after which she was known as Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother, too, to avoid confusion with her daughter. She was the last Empress Consort of India. Born into a family of British nobility, she came to prominence in 1923 when she married the Duke of York, the second son of King George V and Queen Mary. The couple and their daughters embodied traditional ideas of family and public service. 3. She undertook a variety of public engagements and became known for her consistently cheerful countenance. 4. In 1936, her husband unexpectedly became king when his older brother, Edward VIII, abdicated in order to marry the American divorcee Wallis Simpson. Elizabeth then became queen. She accompanied her husband on diplomatic tours to France and North America before the start of the Second World War. During the war, her seemingly indomitable spirit provided moral support to the British public. After the war, her husband's health deteriorated, and she was widowed at the age of 51. Her elder daughter, aged 25, became the new queen. After the death of Queen Mary in 1953, Elizabeth was viewed as the matriarch of the British royal family. In her later years, she was a consistently popular member of the family, even when other members were suffering from low levels of public approval. 5. She continued an active public life until just a few months before her death at the age of 101 years, 238 days, which was 7 weeks after the death of her younger daughter, Princess Margaret. Elizabeth Angela Marguerite Bowes-Lyon was the youngest daughter and the 9th of 10 children of Claude Bowes-Lyon, Lord Glamis, later the 14th Earl of Strathmore and Kinghorn in the Peerage of Scotland, and his wife, Cecilia Cavendish Bentinck. Her mother was descended from British Prime Minister William Cavendish Bentinck, 3rd Duke of Portland, and Governor-General of India Richard Wellesley, 1st Marquess Wellesley, who was the elder brother of another Prime Minister, Arthur Wellesley, 1st Duke of Wellington. C. The location of her birth remains uncertain, but reputedly she was born either in her parents' Westminster home at Belgrave Mansions, Grosvenor Gardens, or in a horse-drawn ambulance on the way to a hospital. 8. Other possible locations include Forbes House in Ham, London, the home of her maternal grandmother, Louisa Scott. 9. Her birth was registered at Hitchin, Hertfordshire. 10. Near the Strathmore's English country house, St. Paul's Waldenbury, which was also given as her birthplace in the census the following year. 11. She was christened there on September 23, 1900, in the local parish church, All Saints, and her godparents included her paternal aunt Lady Maud Bowes-Lyon and cousin Venetia James. 12. She spent much of her childhood at St. Paul's Walden and at Glamis Castle, the Earl's ancestral home in Scotland. She was educated at home by a governess until the age of 8, and was fond of field sports, ponies and dogs. 13. When she started school in London, she astonished her teachers by precociously beginning an essay with 2 Greek words from Xenophon's Anabasis. Her best subjects were literature and scripture. After returning to private education under a German Jewish governess, Hedda Kubler, she passed the Oxford local examination with distinction at age 13. 14. On her 14th birthday, Britain declared war on Germany. 4 of her brothers served in the army. Her elder brother, Fergus, an officer in the Black Watch Regiment, was killed in action at the Battle of Loos in 1915. Another brother, Michael, was reported missing in action on April 28, 1917. 15. 3 weeks later, the family discovered he had been captured after being wounded. He remained in a prisoner of war camp for the rest of the war. Glamis was turned into a convalescent home for wounded soldiers, which Elizabeth helped to run. She was particularly instrumental in organizing the rescue of the castle's contents during a serious fire on September 16, 1916. 16. One of the soldiers she treated wrote in her autograph book that she was to be hung, drawn, and quartered, hung in diamonds, drawn in a coach and four, and quartered in the best house in the land. 17. Prince Albert, Duke of York, Bertie to the family, was the second son of King George V. He initially proposed to Elizabeth in 1921, but she turned him down, being afraid never again to be free to think, speak and act as I feel I really ought to. 18. When he declared he would marry no other, his mother, Queen Mary, visited Glamis to see for herself the girl who had stolen her son's heart. She became convinced that Elizabeth was the one girl who could make Bertie happy, but nevertheless refused to interfere. 19. At the same time, Elizabeth was courted by James Stuart, Albert's equerry, until he left the prince's service for a better paid job in the American oil business. 20. In February 1922, Elizabeth was a bridesmaid at the wedding of Albert's sister, Princess Mary, to Viscount Lascelles. 21. The following month, Albert proposed again, but she refused him once more. 22. Eventually, in January 1923, Elizabeth agreed to marry Albert, despite her misgivings about royal life. 23. Albert's freedom in choosing Elizabeth, not a member of a royal family, though the daughter of a peer, was considered a gesture in favor of political modernization. Previously, princes were expected to marry princesses from other royal families. 24. They selected a platinum engagement ring featuring a cashmere sapphire with 2 diamonds adorning its sides. 25. They married on April 26, 1923, at Westminster Abbey. Unexpectedly, 26, Elizabeth laid her bouquet at the tomb of the unknown warrior on her way into the abbey. 27, in memory of her brother Fergus. 28, Elizabeth became styled Her Royal Highness the Duchess of York. 29, following a wedding breakfast at Buckingham Palace prepared by Chef Gabriel Chummy, the new Duchess and her husband honeymooned at Polesden Lacey, a manor house in Surrey, and then went to Scotland, where she caught unromantic whooping cough. 30.